What's going on today, guys? All right, so you have not been in here since I did the revamping of the room. I just moved some shelves around, put stuff closer to the window, also moved some plants around as well. Today's video is going to be on 5 things I wish I would have known before I bought my plant shelves and pretty much any type of thing that you see a plant sitting on around here. And that goes for in the house as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. But first, I'm going to give you a quick little update of how the room is looking. Five things I wish I would have known before I got my plant shelves. Let's dive right into it. Number 1, weight matters. So you don't think about it initially, but when you first buy your 4-inch pot or your 6-inch pot, maybe your 8-inch pot, I even go to your 10 or your 12, right? Your plants are going to grow. At least that should be the end result, right? So with that means that your pot and your plant is going to get heavier. We all know that stores will sell anything that they think a customer will buy. When you don't know how big your plant is going to get, when you have to do that repotting and you buy a heavy pot to start with, that weight is going to cause tension on that structure, which is going to cause it to become wiggly or loose. And a lot of times plants, I don't know why, but they get top heavy. And sometimes I have came home and have seen a plant in the floor for absolutely no reason. Maybe it could have been an air draft. Maybe somebody could have bumped it, although nobody's allowed to come in here. Not all the time your pot and your plant work together. I have repotted a plant, and when I have, if I didn't put a stake or something inside of it, it has leaned and wobbled and has eventually failed. So weight does matter. Number 2, spacing is everything. Plants that I did not do any type of research on. I just bought a pot, placed it on the shelf. These plants have gotten tall. So what happens is that I have room, I have space on my shelves, but on top of them might be a little square, just enough to put one small plant in, and it doesn't necessarily have a large cutting for that plant to be able to grow up, which causes me to have to move plants around. I have plants on shelves that I had to take off the shelves, put either on the floor or buy standalone plant stands that I could just put the plant on because it's just no room. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. This space right here is a prime example. Now, I used to have a plant, my philodendron green goddess, that used to sit right here. You know what happened? She got to be too big. Let me show you her. She done got too tall. Now, if I didn't have this shelf here, I would be screwed, or I would have to buy another shelf. So that is one of the main reasons why that spacing does matter, especially when it comes to a plant growing. And this is just growing up. We also have plants that grow wide. Take a look at the monsteras right here. Look how wide they grow. Imagine having this plant right here on this shelf. Look at how much space it takes. First of all, the height is not tall enough. And now the width, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants right there. This right here would take over at least 3 plants. Now, of course, when they're smaller plants, you don't have to worry about that, but eventually they are going to have to grow. And the last thing you want to do is buy something that simply only serves a purpose for a small amount of time, and then you can no longer use it because then you have to trash it, find someone to give it to, or make it work. And who's trying to make that work? Number 3, moisture and material don't always work. You can't see it, but right here, I've had so much little water damage of when you water your plants and some of the water come out the pot, you didn't know it, and then it gets on top of the material, and then you start to have a warp. Now, I'm not talking about things that have been designed specifically for plant shelves, because maybe they have an extra coating of wood, because I've never seen some of my plant shelves actually warp, but just regular tables and little stands. I've seen stands rust from when the water comes out the side and causes it to rust. And again, this is made just out of like plywood and whatever cheap material that they use. So as soon as that water get on there, it's water damage. And this isn't even good stuff. So It would suck if you bought a shelf, maybe for a bookcase inside of your living room, and you have a plant on there. Some of the water start to come out and it starts peeling or messing up, and you pay good money for it, but it may not have been made for water resistance, you know? So material does matter. Now, number 4, light placement. I recently just moved my room around because my plants wasn't receiving enough light. Still the same grow lights. My plants are getting enough light now. And sometimes it's not about buying more grow light or having them closer to the window or so forth like that. Sometimes it's about just making sure that the crown of your plant is getting enough light. The crown of your plant is the top part of your plant, the head, basically. You want to make sure that you have a light that's showing over top of or shining over top of that head, because that's what's going to cause that plant to grow. So when you have a bunch of plants piled up on your shelf and there's not enough room, you have some sticking in the back, some in the front, just know those plants is right there directly in front of the grow lights is going to benefit, while the ones around may not. So again, it's very important to know what you're getting yourself into when you get no shelves. Now let's go ahead and get to the last one. You need space to grow. Don't buy a shelf for what you need it for right now. You will save so much money if you properly planned for the plants that you're going to be putting on the shelves, because you'll know exactly what kind of shelves you need. I didn't properly plan. I just wanted my room to look different because I had about 5 or 6 different shelves and it just looked tacky. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy me some shelves and they're going to match. Well, I did buy some shelves and they do match. However, I can't tell you how many times I had to work and wiggle just last week just to make everything fit. And who trying to be doing all that? All I had to do was know what plants I was going to put on, know what the growing requirements were going to be, and prepare to buy the plant to be able to grow and fill in. Now, if you buy a couple of small plants and you bought a big shelf, of course, you're going to put other placeholders and so forth there. But we're talking about at the end of the day, you're buying a Monstera constellation and you know that plant is going to spread, which those are more so a floor plant or just a low plant anyway. You wouldn't want to put those like on a huge plant shelf up high, because most likely it's going to tumble and fall because of weight. But let's just say for giggles, you do buy a Monstera constellation and you buy 4 other plants, right? That Monstera take off, spread. Where are these other 4 plants going to go? They're going to go behind. Now they're not going to get light. You're going to take them off the shelves. Now they're definitely not going to get light. Or you're going to have to buy mismatch shelves. And who's trying to be doing all that? So hopefully you found this video to be informative. Hopefully it could save you a lot of money, because at the end of the day, that's the only reason why I'm sharing this with you, so you could save some money. With that being said, hopefully you found my video to be informative. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Y'all take care.